Hello. Hello. My internet is doing a thing today, so that could be interesting. There. Perfect. All right. Let's see what you guys have been working on today. And yes, my air conditioning is on. I'll turn it off once my room is not 400 degrees Celsius. All right, what do we got first here? We got Aiden Dodge. Aiden Dodge with the Will You Ever Know track. Let's have a listen.
I know it's been quite a while, but I've been too afraid to reconcile with you. And I've been running all the extra miles just to get you off my mind, but I can't leave you behind. And I hope you know that I think that he's lucky he's your man. And you deserve somebody who can give you what I can. And don't you worry about me, I'll do just fine on my own. Cause you deserve to have mutual love, but will you ever know? Girl, will you ever know the feelings I used to hold? Cause I lost all control. I've lost all control over what I...
So I still don't like the piano sound in this.
To have mutual love, but will you ever know? Girl, will you ever know that...
It just kind of sounds like a bunch of noise or something. Like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like a payoff to me when it gets to that point. It almost feels like the drop section or like the chorus, the big part. I can't get this microphone to sit right. Anyway, I kind of feel like it's not really paying off.
To have mutual love, but will you ever know? Girl, will you ever know the feelings I used to hold? Cause I lost all control. I've lost all control over what I can't keep on told. And for far too long I've been chasing so much time I've wasted trying to find me.
You know, it just feels like congested. It feels like everything is crammed in there. I don't know. I don't think the piano is the good choice for that.
I used to hold. Life goes on, but you've still been all on my brain. And I'm long gone, but I still endure all this pain. Trying to keep my fire, then running through the rain. Find somebody who can help me smile again. And I'm glad you're happy with somebody, even if that somebody isn't me. If it's not me, I still want you all over my body, but I would rather let you be free. Let you be free. Can't I find somebody to replace you and take away your place in my heart? Girl, you got me deep inside my feelings, and this is only just a start. I can't get you off my mind, and I can't leave it all behind. And I wish I could hit rewind so that I could have a second chance. I can't get you off.
Yeah, like I like the song. I like the song. I like the vocal performance. I like the chord progression. The piano just sounds like a cheese grater or something, like, to my ears.
Will you ever know? Girl, will you ever know the feelings I used to hold? Cause I lost all control. I've lost all control over what I can't keep on told.
Like, to me, maybe you should pick like a Disclosure song and listen to the synth work or something. You know what they do with like that kind of, you know, that housey bass sound. That sort of thing probably would fit a little bit better in the chorus sections. But to me, that piano is just ruining it. It's just like I said, it sounds kind of like a great. It's just so much dense kind of low mids and nothing really else. There's no real tonality to it. It just kind of sounds like no. And you can hear too that there's a lot of like really low frequencies in it.
Will you ever know?
Where was it?
You in my bed and I don't want this to be the way.
I mean, unless that's just the sub bass playing really low notes.
Want you in my bed and I don't.
But yeah, I think generally speaking, I like the track, and I like I like the writing of it, but the piano is just killing it for me. Like if I were you, I would just like get rid of the piano and try something else. Like don't even try to make the piano work. Just get rid of it and try to replace it with something else. Pretend that it never existed, and now you have this hole in your mix. And maybe it might even sound better without the piano and just like the bass and groove going, and then it's more about like, well, maybe I can add a layer to that bass that extends it up past like the first couple harmonics up into like the tone where we can really hear like the character of the synth. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's the same feedback I gave you last time, and maybe you tried to make the piano work, but if it was me trying to do this, I would just can the piano altogether and try something different. If you love the piano, I will go fuck myself. All right, let's move on. This one's called Blackpink Jump and Hair and Hare and Here remix. I don't know how to say that. Main question: is the sub bass length okay? Feels a bit long. 2, is the Hig? I'll let you know if I think it's 2. I'll let you know if the Hig is. I think it'd be empty without the piano. Yeah, sure. It's like that's fine. That's what you're gonna like. It's gonna be empty to start with, and then you're gonna have to put something else in there. But the piano just doesn't. It just doesn't. I don't find that it has any redeeming features. Like to me, it just doesn't sound good. So I think taking the piano out and replacing it with something else, and maybe listening to some like Disclosure and getting some influence or inspiration from them might be good. Is the high lead too loud? Okay, cool. I will let you know what I think. Here we go.
I'm not that easy to tame. You should see me under these lights, on my tears turn to ice. That's the sweetest escape. Every time the feeling kicks in, I might stay through the night. Bet you get it now. Rock that get it now. Check out touching my nuga nuga and jiwa. Think you're running back. Guess we gonna battle. I'll walk it out, talk it. Don't go hana do.
Okay, in that build up, the vocal kind of gets lost. Like
Think you're running back. Guess we gonna battle. I'll walk it out, talk it. Don't go hana do. Set. I ain't gotta explain it. I'm with all of my sisters, got him going insane, yeah. You know we on a mission, all gas, no brakes, yeah. Breaking out of this system, breaking out of this cage, yeah. Bet you're getting up, ain't that did enough. 순간 있지만 누가 누군지, think you're running up. Just be good enough, walk it, talk it. 눈 감고 하나, 둘, 셋,
Okay, so your 2 questions. The sub feels fine to me. I don't have any issues. The lead sounds fine. I don't have any issues. The only thing I would say, there's some moments like right there. if you just listen to that one section without any context, I'm like, what chord is playing? What notes are playing? Specifically towards the end, things just get kind of congested and messy. Like there's a whole lot of, it kind of feels like, you know, that like on the keyboard playing a bunch of notes at the same time that don't work together. I kind of feel like it's maybe the super saw chords are maybe too loud or something, but when it got to this section, I just kind of felt like it's like a wall of sound almost, but not necessarily in a good way. Like there's just certain moments where I'm like, if I just isolate this one quarter note section of the song, I can't really tell what notes are being played. It just kind of sounds like a jumbled mess. But in terms of your questions, I think your sub sounds good. Open chords, no third. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, like in these drop sections, I think it sounds great. It's just when you bring in like this super sub. I'm wondering if it's maybe like a stem from the original track or something in the original track that's just not quite agreeing with like everything you've got going on. It certainly sounds big. It's just, it gets a little messy harmonically. It just kind of sounds like all of the notes all of the time during certain sections. So maybe just be careful with that. Then the other thing too is like this buildup. I would try to maybe, you might have to reduce. I have the hiccups, by the way, if you're wondering why I'm pausing every few seconds. Yeah, I would maybe think about how to maybe reduce the loudness of the buildup or something so that the vocal can still cut through, especially because you're like there's words that happen here and they feel like they should be important, but I can't hear what she's saying before that. So it kind of feels a bit awkward because I'm like, oh, it would have been nice to know what that full sentence was. Does it even English? Maybe. Well, that could be why I'm not understanding the words. But I think overall it sounds dope. I would maybe just carve out those build-up sections a little bit more so that the vocal can still cut through. And then be careful with the density of your super saw chords. Is the volume balance between the verse and drop okay? Yeah, I think that's right. And yes, Will, I'm receiving your bathroom updates. I'm just not taking the time to reply to you about your bathroom activities. But I do appreciate you letting me know and keeping me informed 100% every step of the way. Yeah, I think you did a pretty good job. I think it's really mostly just like the very end where it gets messy, and then like the build-up sections have the vocals a bit more upfront, and then you can hit us with the drop super hard. I don't think you need to be quite that loud in the build-up, and if you pull that back a little bit, then the vocals will cut through naturally better anyway. So that's what I think. I think you did a good job. Cool. Dark Forge. I moved things by accident. Whoops. Cheeky. Last time I promise. You can send it as many times as you want. I might just say the same thing over and over again. Here we go. Wait, do you think he added vocals to this one? Let's find out. It's sick, dude. I really think the only thing left for you to do is to put some little vocal thing on it. It could be as simple as just the word cheeky, and that you cut up in an interesting way. I think the arrangement's dope. I think it's exciting from start to finish. The mix sounds great. Master sounds, everything sounds dope. It just needs like cheeky, you know, like something like that. Or like a phrase that includes the word cheeky at the end, you know, like why you gotta be so cheeky, you know, or something like that. Or my precious, I guess. You know, there's lots of opportunities and options for you. But yeah, I would stop working on the production and the mix and master and just try to figure out the vocal thing, and then I would say you're done. It sounds dope, honestly. You can sample whatever you want. I don't care. It's probably not going to be good, but if it works, then have at her. All right. Great job. That was easy. Sounds great. Next up, we got Horu Sequencio Zonada. Okay, so the problem I'm having with this right now is that you kind of like, you've got the vocal, you've got the kind of whiny lead thing, which I like. I'm not saying whiny necessarily in a bad way. But you kind of have that right from the start, and then it just keeps going. Both of them are just there the whole time. Like you have these two elements that you could potentially be cutting back and forth between. You could build it up with just the vocals, and the vocals go away, and the lead thing happens on its own, and then maybe it goes to the vocals, and maybe it's cut between the vocals and the lead thing. But to me, so far, I've just kind of listened to the same like 4-bar loop. Just now we have drums, you know, like I like what's there, but I don't feel like I've made any progress in the song. I feel like I'm just kind of like listening to the same thing, and the vocal and the lead don't necessarily work that well together because they're both kind of right in my face and they're both demanding attention, but they're not necessarily like working in conjunction with each other. So if you have two people that you're trying to pay attention to, but they're like interacting with each other, then you can pay attention to the two of them as like one unit. But if there's just two people talking at you separately without any awareness of each other, then it becomes difficult to, you know, which one do I pay attention to? And I'm kind of getting that with this. Oh, sorry. Well, was there somebody else talking at the same time, so you didn't know which like person to pay attention to? Yeah. See, without the vocal here, now the lead is way more easier to understand and to listen to and to pay attention to, and I imagine it would be the same with the vocal if you took the lead out. Yeah, I think that's mostly it. I think you've got some cool elements here, but it's more the arrangement that's the issue. Like you don't. I don't really feel like we've gone on a big journey where you've built up some anticipation and you've delivered on it, and then you've pulled back a little bit, shown some restraint, introduced a new element, elaborated on that element, built it up, got us excited, and then boom, hit us with like this sick, like maybe just like a kick and a bass line for a moment. And then, so that's kind of the stuff that this is missing. I think this is a good showcase of like some cool elements that you have put together, but they don't necessarily feel like they've been put together in a way that keeps me hooked the whole time. Like I don't feel like you're like leading me on a journey through these sounds. I just kind of feel like you are showing me some of the cool stuff that you've made. So luckily, you know, like a lot of the heavy lifting you've already done. I think you need to think about this in terms of the elements that you have available to you, and how do you want to manage my anticipation and excitement using those things, filtering them in, filtering them out, opening a low pass filter up as I'm getting close to something, making it all maybe messy with reverb, and then collapsing it down to just mostly like the kick and the bass line, and then letting me groove with that for a little bit, then maybe tease in the vocal a little bit, maybe tease in the lead a little bit, maybe commit to a bass line in the lead for a bit, and then switch to the vocals. Like, these are all techniques that you could use. But right now, and you can kind of see it visually, it just kind of seems like it's like 4-bar loop after 4-bar loop after 4-bar loop, and not really enough stuff changes between each 4-bar loop to make me feel like we've like made a bunch of progress. So I guess my feedback is mostly just in the arrangement of what you have, and you may need to add some other stuff too, specifically in the drum department. I think, you know, like even just like this. Like that, imagine if you chilled it right out, so it was just like a thumping bass, a thumping kick, the bass line, and the vocal, right? And then on your next 4-bar section, maybe you bring in a single open hi-hat on the upbeat, and then maybe it builds up, and then does a little drum fill or something, and then it comes in with the boots and cats, you know, like kick, hi-hat, and clap, etc. So that's kind of what I would do. I'd focus your energies on creating a compelling arrangement out of what you already have, and then supplement it with more sounds as needed. Besides that, you know, the mix and stuff sounds pretty good. If anything, I don't know. It seems maybe a little hyped like maybe over compressed or something, but I wouldn't really worry too much about the mix and the master. There's nothing like super objectively bad about it. I think it could be better, but I think the biggest thing is just get the arrangement right. And then that could also inform some of your decisions when it comes to mixing and mastering. But overall, cool track. Okay, let's check out CAD. I Can't Be With You Final Glue. So this is a love song about glue, but like the last glue to ever glue. So like, this is super cool. I really like all the waggy sound design, but like, it's so loud. I am just a furry? So like I get kind of like the I get the hyperpop sound, you know, I understand like the clipping and the like holy shit that's loud. I just I don't know, like what would it sound like if it wasn't, you know, like specifically like some of these hits. Is there any chance that it could just not be quite that distorted, and would it be better? That's the question. Like, I'm assuming you pushed it that hard on purpose. So I'm not saying that that's not a sound and a style and something that you should do per se, but like, to me, I'd be interested to see if you could maybe get get that crunchiness before the master. OBS is reconnected. Internet, please pass my bits. Please pass my bits around. I'm seeing my bit rate go all over the place. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, that's what I think about this track. I think it sounds sick. I think the sound design is dope and it's very creative. I just wonder if you could maybe get like that same aggressive sound without murdering your master bus. And maybe you should have like a fake master bus for like your kick and bass and stuff. Like bus it together, get the crunchiness, but then not hit the master bus with such anger, and be a little bit more tactful or like strategic and nuanced in the mastering of it. But that's just a suggestion. If you love the way it sounds distorted like that, I get it. I get that that's a sound. So that's pretty much, I think that's all I got for this one. Like, it's super cool. It's very modern. It's very, the beat is like really cool. It's just, I don't know. What if it wasn't quite so absolutely destroyed in the master bus? That's my question. But maybe you could answer it. All right, cool. Thank you for sending. Let's check out Tact ID. Okay, so I felt like the intro, the pacing was too slow, and maybe you're planning on adding some more stuff there, but like the intro to me, a little bit bored. And then when it stepped up right here, I was like, holy shit, we just went from 0 to 60 in 0 seconds. So I'd maybe try to like, sorry, that was probably really loud. I would probably try to, I don't know, ramp into that a little bit better. And then I think what you're going to have to do, because you're kind of relying on that same melody the whole time, what you might need to do is figure out a counter melody, something that is kind of like a response to what you've got there. Because if you think about it, right from the start of the track, we got dum dum dum. Then in the drop, we got dum 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 dum. And then in the breakdown, we got dum 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 dum. So I would try to come up with a second melody that is like it plays with the first one in some interesting way. So maybe the first one is like the hero, and the second one is like the challenging aggressor, and then they kind of have a back and forth sort of thing. When you have two melodies that work together, all of a sudden you can kind of get away from having just like one melody play the whole time. I know that sounds kind of obvious, but sometimes people, I know that you like put it up an octave for like a variation, but I don't know. I feel like you should come up with something that's totally different from that. It could be played on the same synth. I'm not really sure. I would probably try something different, but it should be something that plays with it, not just totally out of nowhere random. And then that way you can kind of switch between them. Is my stream dropping out? My bit rate's going all over the place, so just let me know. Interesting. I did not expect that to happen. So that was I really did like these drums that came in, though. I thought those were cool. I'm a little torn. I'm not sure if I like this second drop doing something totally out of the blue. I don't know. I can't quite tell. Because like this second drop is very different than the first drop. And I'm not sure if that's a bad thing. I do know that this drop is probably a little effects heavy. I find that you have like big swooping like white noise down lifter things, and they're just kind of like covering up all of the cool chops and wubs and stuff. So I probably try to chill out like the amount of noise that you have in the background under this drop so that you could, we can appreciate those sounds a bit better. Because, like, I like both drops, but I don't know. I kind of feel like, should you commit to one style for the track? But if you listen to this, to the effects, it's really covering up all the all like the rhythmic wubbing that's happening, that you just kind of have this like over top of it. So I don't know if it's maybe just turning that down or like making it end sooner or something. I probably, if it was me, I probably wouldn't even I'd maybe have that like and then end on like the first snare hit, and then it's like just wubs with not really much in the background in terms of effects. But that's just me. But yeah, I think it's cool. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do two different styles. I'm just asking the question. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I like it or not. So that's kind of a subjective, a subjective opinion. That's kind of redundant. Anyway, that's what I think. I think maybe try to come up with a hooky counter melody to play with, and that would give you more levers to pull to add variation. Make the build up a little bit smoother. The intro is kind of boring because it just goes and does the same thing for so long. And those are my thoughts. Thank you for sending. Let's move on. Swiss cheese. Should I resend this to the label or not? Also, I need a new alias. Resend this to so like you send it to a label and the label said no? So I don't really like the sound of that snare. I didn't mind it like once it's in the mix, but here it's like it sticks out a lot in the intro. Also, we've gone a minute without having any real identifiable sounds happening. I mean, like it's like it sounds like a nice chord that's being played and the drum, like everything's nice sounding, but like we've gone a minute and there's no real memorable hook or anything. Twitch is making it sound like it's pitching up. Yeah, I don't know what's up with my internet today. It's not going well, and it's distracting me, if I'm being honest, because I'm like watching the kilobits per second move up and down. It usually just sticks at like 2600. So we are now 2 minutes in, and we still don't. We have dun 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 dun, but that's part of the chords. So I would challenge you to have a synth that plays a melody, but not on the same synth that the chords are being played on. Because I feel like you're trying to like sneak a melody in with the chords on the synth that you're playing the chords on. But like we're 2 minutes in and we're still just kind of grooving with like a nice groove and some cool chords and a hint of a melody. There's like a hint in there, right? Yeah, I mean, like, everything that's there besides the snare is kind of questionable, or the clap is kind of questionable because of its boxiness, the cardboardness of it. But besides that, everything sounds nice, but there's no real memorable element to this. It's just kind of nice sounding chords and drums. It's almost like everything, when everything is coming in, it's all very, ooh, nice and, oh, sneak, we're going to sneak this one in. And now here's this element. Everything is very non-confrontational. I feel like I feel like I could boil down my feedback for Cheese on this and most of the stuff he sends in, that everything is very non-confrontational. Everything is very, oops, can I just squeeze by you there? You know, like everything is just kind of like, here's a nice sound. We're going to bring it up. We're going to mix it in. That melody, we're going to play it on that synth, and we're going to open the filter up slowly. And there's a certain amount of that's okay, especially for progressive house. That's very common for things to do. But like sometimes we just need something that's like a commitment. It feels non-committal. Is that the word? It feels like Cheese has a commitment issue when it comes to producing these tracks, because everything, I feel like I've given him this feedback many times, and it's that the chords sound great. Cheese is incredible at getting good, nice sounding, emotionally charged chord progressions. Harmonically, it's nice. Groove wise, it's nice. But like, give me something to sink my teeth into. Give me a melody or a hook that's gonna get stuck in my head that I'm like, okay, now it justifies me listening to this nice soundscape that you've created with the ear candy and this coming and going and the nice little filter sweep and stuff. Like, give me something of substance, and I feel like that's kind of what this is missing. It's missing like that, either vocals or a synth melody, or a weird sound that happens that's kind of in the same key of the song, a hook of some sort. I feel like that's always what Cheese is missing, is that hook. And that's what makes me say that he is it's like a commitment issue, because it's easy to bring in another chord. It's easy to bring in a pad that's playing like a pedal tone that's droning and it's playing so nice. None of that really involves commitment or risk. That's all just bringing in, I'm going to fade in this shaker loop. There's not really much risk in bringing in a shaker loop. There is a risk in bringing in a car horn that you've melodined to play a note or play a little riff or something. You're like, that's a risky maneuver. You have to drop that. You can't fade it in. You have to drop that in. And I feel like that's the issue here, because the mixing and mastering and the chords and the groove and the vibe he's very good at doing all of that stuff. He's come a long way in terms of the mixing and the mastering of these tracks. So like, I don't mean to sound like I'm shitting on him. I'm not. He's doing a great job. It's just there's that one missing thing, and it's always missing. It's all, and maybe not always, but most of the time when Cheese submits something, it's missing that risky commitment hook where you have to be like, this is the melody of the song, and you might not like it, and that's scary, So that we'll keep listening. Maybe 4 minutes in we get something. You know what I mean? Like, we're just listening to a super saw with a kick drum. It's not enough to justify it being a song per se. I think somebody said it sounds like background music, and it kind of does. I mean, because when you think of background music, you're providing the bed, and then the hook is what's happening on the screen, the people talking. Like, that's the main focus, and you're just providing some music underneath of it. But when we're just listening to the song and there's nothing happening on the screen, there's nobody talking, like, now there's not a whole lot to it. Let's see. Like, if I just pull up, no, I'll just make some bullshit sound up here, because I think I have that synth already in here. Is it this one? No, that's just it. Which one is it? One of these. Which one is it? One of these. So D major? Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I'm not. I'm just trying to come up with something. That's not even hooky. So. One sec. Please do what I want. Thank you. Mouse, do what I want. Okay, that's a melody. We have a call, we have a response. Now let's hear it in with this. You know what I mean? Like now, all of a sudden, this sounds more like a song. Anyway, that's my suggestion, Cheese. You need to take more risks with your music. I feel like you are not taking enough risks. Everything is snuck in. Everything is non-confrontational. Everything is like a Canadian in a grocery store trying to sneak past you to get to the craft dinner. And I think you need somebody to come in and tell them to get the fuck out of the way. I'm here now, you know? You're great at chords, you're great at groove, but everyone write a melody over Cheese's track. But that's the thing, the chord progressions are always so good. It's easy to write melodies. Like you could just sit there and riff and then be like, oh, that's cool. So I think that's what Cheese needs to do. I think Cheese needs to be a bit more confrontational. All right. Next up, we got, this is a new one. Oh, it's okay. Sleeping Hummingbird London Ice Kayab Remix. Here we go. Okay, this is cool. I think your kick transient is the loudest thing in the entire universe. And then your snare is just kind of like an afterthought. So I think the balance, I'd probably bring your... Is the internet bad? I'm sorry. I don't really know what to do about it. Fuck, that's annoying. Should I like restart my router? Is that a move? I'll keep going. Rayham, let me know if you think it's worth me restarting my router. I don't know if that's going to help or not, but if it sucks, then it might be the move. Yeah, I think the biggest thing mix-wise... Okay, thank you for letting me know. That makes me feel better. I think mix-wise, the kick drum is so loud. I think you are mixing into an aggressive master bus. If I had to take an educated guess, I think that you have an aggressive master bus and you're mixing into it, and it's saving you from realizing how loud the kick is. It's just right now. Got back to. I hope it's not going to get down again. I don't know. Every once in a while, I have internet issues. I don't live here, but my studio is in the middle of the woods, so we don't have great internet. Anyway, yes. So, yeah, that kick drum is just too, like, the transient on it is too, like, snappy. It just like, feels like it's, like, slapping me in the eardrums each time. But besides that, it sounds cool. I really like the chord progression, the melody and shit. It sounds almost like 28 Days Later shit. I actually have my router plugged into my power outlet, so you're not too far off. Yeah, but as far as this track goes... Kick down, snare up, I think, or at least the transient on the kick goes down and the transient on the snare goes up, because I feel like when you go kick, snare, they should be fairly well balanced sonically, like the impact, the snappiness. I think your kick and your snare should be complementing each other in terms of their sound and snappiness, and I don't think it is here. I think your kick is like, holy fuck, and your snare is like, what's up him in the background. But besides that, I think you're off to a good start. That was easy. Let's move on. No Cult, Rage. Rage? Like, isn't that an old PS2 game? Or maybe a PS3? Let's have a listen. Kilobits per second, 0. I love that for me. Restart my router. Are you guys okay waiting 5 to 7 minutes for me to restart my router? I'm interested to see, or let me try something real quick. I feel like maybe I should. Okay, let's see if that did anything. I feel like it probably didn't. I did the old release and renew thing. It's not looking